Come, let us explore this dawn's meditation class and group practice, that we too could meditate like a Jedi. We come to the fifth passage of the unwaning victory banner, composed so many centuries ago by the great Buddhist reformer Prahevajra of Odayana, known as the Swat Valley of contemporary Pakistan. Together, let us relaxingly recite. The great pristine awareness is difficult to grasp. It depends on wisdom and is realized through it. Other dependence is just a label. True bliss spontaneously self-originates. This definitely seems to be two separate ideas, related at best tangentially. Let's explore the first one. The great pristine awareness is difficult to grasp. It depends on wisdom and is realized through it. To make sense of this, let's take a gander at a well-used visual aid. Pristine awareness is another way of saying meditation and mindfulness. There's much confusion surrounding meditation, mindfulness, concentration, and contemplation. And towards that end, I find that nothing clears things up quite like neuroscience. The foolish over-rely on focus and analysis made possible by the medial and dorsolateral prefrontal cortex. But the overuse of this region comes at a terrible price. By exhausting our prefrontal cortex, we set ourselves up to present with symptoms of depression, as well as trigger our amygdala, the seat of both anxiety and aggression. However, the wise passively cooperate with their autonomic nervous system, which is a fancy way of saying our spinal cord. Its center bit is known as the sympathetic nervous system. And when we access it during our inhalation, it helps us to notice in a very special way, to notice vulnerably, passively, viscerally, randomly, and fleetingly, which is the opposite of active, rigid focus, is it not? But what is it that we are wired to notice? We are wired to notice mind's antics of perception. You know, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting, and smelling, as well as emoting, intending, reasoning, recalling, and imagining. So this is not the concentration where we choose one thing to focus on and push everything else away. Au contraire. This is the passive awareness, where we are vulnerable to all manner of phenomena, from the external to the internal, from the physical to the mental, from the pleasurable to the painful, from the interesting to the boring, from the glorious to the grotesque. What do we do with that which we notice? Every time we exhale, we automatically exercise the outer bits of our parasympathetic facet of our autonomic nervous system. This bad boy has evolved to help us to physically relax and mentally release to such a degree that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could fleetingly feel less stressful, less permanent, and less defining. All complex life forms are drawn to figures of speech, to symbolic thinking. So figuratively, every time we exhale, that which we noticed during our previous inhalation could feel as non-graspable as a vast empty void, like the illusion of the infinite azure sky on a bright and beautiful cloudless morn, which although could look tantalizing to the eye, feels non-graspable to the hand. Let's tie this up in a big red bow. The easiest way to watch the antics of mind, which is also known as practicing mindfulness, is to silently and mentally recite the demonstrative pronoun this each time we feel air enter our nostrils. The most sustainable way to practice meditation, which is simply relaxing into mind's non-graspable nature, is to silently and mentally recite the one-syllable verb ease each time we feel air exit our nostrils. The foolish are rigid and literal-minded and have become fascinated with emptiness and have become fascinated with no self and have clearly misunderstood that these are figures of speech that describe how things seem as we relax during our exhalation, in contrast to how they seem as we vulnerably notice during our inhalation. That's it. There's no mystery, there's no metaphysics, there's nothing to figure out, there's nothing to believe. What is required for someone to master the Buddha's path? Nothing more than to passively cooperate with both facets of their autonomic nervous system that is so potent that the ancients referred to it as our Buddha nature. Now that we've reviewed the basics, let's return to this morning's lesson text. The great pristine awareness is difficult to grasp. It depends on wisdom and is realized through it. So, actively believing, actively analyzing is not an effective way to mastering it. The only way we can master pristine awareness is through the effortless, visceral wisdom inherent in our own central nervous system. When we passively cooperate with it, enlightenment becomes an inevitability. That only makes sense once we have the correct definition of enlightenment. Enlightenment is not only feeling certain things or only noticing certain things. Enlightenment is simply the mastery of the Buddha's Eightfold Path. As children, as toddlers, the acquisition of the skills of brushing our teeth and using the toilet and riding a bike and tying our shoes seemed insurmountable. But with time and repeat instructions and effort, we were able to get so good at those things that we can now practice them spontaneously, habitually, easily, and effectively. The more we, simply by playing with pristine awareness, the remaining, which is the seventh and eighth folds of the Buddha's Eightfold Path, the remaining sixth folds not only take care of themselves, the sixth folds of noticing change, experiencing the impulse towards greater kindness of intention, communication, conduct, and commerce, and allowing our choices, utterances, and deeds to flow from not the scattered spontaneity, but the centered spontaneity. That is the byproduct of mindfulness and meditation. According to the Buddha, this could be mastered in as little as a week. We come now to the second half of this morning's opening lesson. Other dependence is just the label. True bliss spontaneously self-originates. All complex life forms, all simple life forms evolve to be hedonistic. That is how even the simplest of life forms pull away from that which is perilous and are drawn to that which sustains their life. So drawn away from that which can eat them and drawn to that which can sustain them and protect them. That's how we are wired. So pleasure can be an excellent barometer of our spiritual practice. There are many foolish people who will tell us that the journey is difficult and arduous. The wise will tell you it is easy and delightful and fun. I began my journey with foolish teachers, and I became just as miserable as them. Eventually, I was drawn towards wise teachers, and I became as peaceful and happy as them, or at least almost. The bliss that we are drawn to, the bliss that we evolved to be drawn to, has a source. And that source is our passive cooperation with our autonomic nervous system. Now, you could say, dude, we got a prefrontal cortex. We have the ability to focus. We have the ability to analyze. Are you saying that's a mistake that we should never use? Not at all. The question is not if we use them, but how we use them and how frequently we use them or overuse them or misuse them. One of the greatest ironies is this, as I mentioned a few moments ago. The more we authentically practice watching the antics of mind and relaxing into its non-graspable nature, the more we do that, the more our choices, utterances, and deeds will flow not from scattered spontaneity, but from centered spontaneity. That is the key to using the front of our brain in the most sustainable way. And Einstein hinted at this when he assured his students that creativity was intellect at play. In The Shining, we saw that all work and no play made Jack a dull boy. Breakthroughs come by respecting our body and mind's needs for rest and recreation. The bliss we seek comes not from contrived asceticism. It comes from passively cooperating with our autonomic nervous system. To notice and relax in the most wonderful of ways. Having completed this morning's opening lesson, let us now shift gears. It is General Leia Organa Saturday morning. Let us meditate like a Jedi after approximately 30 seconds of housekeeping. This is the Dzogchen Sende Lama Jigme Gyatso of the Buddha Joy Meditation School. I'm a big old weirdo. For more than 30 years, I have harnessed my autistic special interests as well as my ADHD capacity for hyperfocus to spend about 8 hours a day, almost every day, studying, practicing, mastering, and reverse engineering the teachings and techniques of each school of meditation so that I could become your personal, nerdy, neurodivergent guide to nirvana. Come, let us meditate like a Jedi, which is made possible, I should say, welcome to Meditate Like a Jedi, which is made possible due to the generosity of viewers just like you. For the remainder of this morning's live stream, let's play with the latest iteration of very easy meditation practice text, or sadhana, if you're nasty. We're going to keep track of our inhalations and our exhalations. We're going to count inhalations on our right hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We're going to count sets of 12 sets of 12 inhalations each upon our left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And we're going to do so for 2 to 3 collections. We're going to keep track of those collections of 12 sets of 12 repetitions each on the back of our right hand by resting the great knuckle at the base of our right index finger upon the tip of our left index finger, palms up in our lap. Now, if that Bengali crease counting seems overwhelming, that's fine. Do your best to play with it. Play with it at least once every 12 hours for a week or two. Give it a chance. Ah, yes. The moment you have a specific question about Buddhist philosophy or meditation, do not hesitate to type your question in great detail in the chat window, for I tend to check for questions once every 20 to 25 minutes or so. You have taken your first step into a much larger world. If you feel that I have earned it, you could give this live stream a thumbs up. You could even help support this channel. In approximately 11 hours, I would very much like to return to lead today's dusk meditation class and group practice. And if you are as geeky as me, may the Force be with you always.